windows. Do excuse me for a minute here. I've got Andy from Sky's computer here, so I just need to check his password, which was I love Murdoch. Okay, brilliant, excellent. And I just thought I'd just speak for a few minutes. So I work for the IB. I spend a lot of my time speaking to brands and agencies about mobile. And I put together a few slides the other day for an event we had, and I just thought it might be quite interesting just to go through some of them today. Where I was just trying to look at I was just thinking, 2010 was an amazing year for mobile, but actually when I think back, it's been quite a journey we've come on over the last 10 years, and things have really changed. And I started trying to think, if I thought of mobile as a book, and thought of the story of the last 10 years, what title would the book have? I thought Great Expectations probably summed it up the best. So if mobile was a book and it was called Great Expectations, I think, the beginning of the book would be about the hope we all had about mobile 10 years ago. And for anyone old enough that's, or been involved in mobile for a few years, I think, I certainly was quite excited about mobile, and, started talking to people about websites and how it's going to change their lives, and it's all going to be very exciting. And one of the examples I think is probably being used more than any other in mobile over the last 10 years is the Starbucks example. People say, imagine when you walk past a Starbucks, you'll get sent a text message and you'll be able to, go in store and get a discount. And people have been talking about it for years. The first time I can find it mentioned was in this white paper, which was done on the 28th of June 2000. And probably can't read that from down there, but they said, imagine you walked into a Starbucks to buy a Frappuccino. Starbucks offered you a promotional discount through your mobile phone in real time based on your identity. Fantastic. So that the expectation was kind of set for mobile in the year 2000. Pretty much every conference I've been to for the last 10 years, someone's talked about going to Starbucks and getting vouchers, but it just never really happened. WAP was the other thing, I said, I used to go and talk to people about WAP. We all got quite excited. I'll spare you the video of BT Cellnet when it launched. But there was a little guy surfing on his surfboard going, yeah, surf BT Cellnet, it's amazing. Well, it wasn't that great, was it? And I think that's really would be kind of the next chapter in this book. Actually, people suddenly sort of, start thinking, all this great stuff's being talked about, but actually, is it that great? Already by September in 2000, just after the WAP had launched, there were headlines about surfers shunning WAP phones. Another headline there, WAP is crap. I thought certainly a phrase that got used quite a lot. By the mid-2000s, I think, as a marketing industry, we got a bit disillusioned with mobile. A quote here saying that, it's ridiculously ill-considered to say that mobile advertising is a big opportunity. Technology giants are scrambling to find a way of making money. Give me a break. So there's this kind of disillusionment, and I think that's kind of gone with us and gone with mobile over the last 10 years. And it's always, certainly, not so much now, but certainly in the last couple of years, pretty much every presentation I do, someone will ask me when's the year of mobile going to be. I'm sure it's probably in one of your minds today, well, when's it actually going to happen? And I think in 2010, things changed and started to pick up at a dramatic pace. Smartphone, any guesses how many people in the population, what percentage of the population have got a smartphone now? Anyone brave enough? 38, did someone say? What did you say? Did someone say 38 or 28? 38. So you can't guess. Yeah, smart ass. It's, I think the latest Comscore figure is about 36, I think, something like that. But it must, probably by now it's about 38. They're still increasing rapidly, so 58% increase in the number of smartphones in the last 12 months, which is just phenomenal. Despite the fact it's already a third of the population, it's still accelerating in its growth. The advertising stuff that people are doing now has started to become a lot more engaging, so the advertising community starts to get a bit more excited now. I can do location-based ads, where I've got maps, I can tilt my phone and do more interesting stuff with it. The location stuff has finally happened, so the Starbucks thing that we've been talking about for 10 years actually happened last year. Starbucks actually did a trial with O2 where they texted, O2 have got this opt-in database of consumers, and they texted people and they went within a certain vicinity of a store. About bloody time it happened, because we've been talking about it for 10 years, so thankfully, thankfully it actually did happen. The same with even display advertising now. You know, Navtech have set up and are doing promotional-led display ads that are based on where you are, sending you promotions within an advert, send you to, for example, your nearest McDonald's store. Search exploded. Who saw that sign? I'm going to ask you another question. Did anyone see that slide? No? Good, right, okay. What percentage of searches do you think now come through a mobile device for restaurants?
60.
60? Good guess, it's a bit less than that. Any other guesses? It's about half of that actually, so it's 30%. So 30% of searches for restaurants now come through a mobile device. So these are Google stats. Even for automotive, 17% of searches now coming through a mobile device. Again, you know, it's just things like search are really accelerating at the moment. And even if we look at the mobile internet audience, so this is the amount of people that use the mobile internet every month. Last year grew at the quickest ever rate, which again I think is pretty staggering given that there's, you know, there are already over 15 million people using the mobile internet every month at the start of last year. By the end of it, there's over 19 million, and that's the quickest ever growth rate. We're already now this year over 20 million people, so there's a lot of people doing stuff on mobile phones now. And brands have finally started to do stuff. You know, thank God. I just picked out some retail examples here. But you know, you can see the number of major high street brands that have finally started to build a mobile presence and realise that customers are looking for them through mobile devices. That's about it. So hopefully I've given you a bit of context of how things have changed over the last 10 years. You know, things have finally started to happen, hopefully. And I guess, you know, you're all quite interested in mobile, hence why you've all come today. Probably, I'm guessing quite a lot of you probably have smartphones as well. That tends to drive people's interest. So, anyone got an iPhone in the room? If you, yeah, most of you. Anyone got an Android phone? Quite a few of you. BlackBerry? Yeah, that's pretty much the whole audience then. Right, great. But it does, you know, it completely changes your perception of mobile and the conversations you have with someone once they get a smartphone. Because also, I get it. I realise now all the things I can do.